Hi, I'm Alrick and welcome to the show. For years, it has been a dream of mine to sit down with Jamaican icon Kingsley Cooper to learn about his experiences, and today, that dream is coming true. Kingsley Cooper is one of the most recognizable brands across the globe. Kingsley Cooper, welcome to the show.
Wonderful to be with you, Alrick.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. How are you?
I'm good, you know.
Yeah?
Yes, I've been at Pulse for 42 years.
42 years.
Yes.
How did it all happen?
It started from all the way back in, I would say, primary school. You know, I used to spend all the time in drawing. You know, I was something of an artist. And throughout school, Casey, I remember, for example, that we didn't have art in the first 4 years of high school. And when I got to fifth form, I'd gotten some subjects out of the way. So I said, you know what, it's true. No more AdMats and those kind of things. Let me do art and history. Alexander Cooper, who died recently, was my teacher at KC, and Alexander is one of the great Jamaican artists. I still have a little picture he painted of me when I was at school in art class. And so writing, you know, editor of the Guild, the school magazine and the school newspaper, and you know, debating society and so on, and then going on to university, you know, editor of the law magazine, you know, head of Guild Press, and so on, and acting, you know, all of those, the kinds of things that are the fundamentals and the foundation of creative enterprise. Because my mother, she was a very creative person. Had to be creative in terms of finding a way to make ends meet and to make sure that the objectives were met. My father was a very creative man. He was a merchant tailor, he called himself. He worked in London in the West End as a top tailor, and he came back to Jamaica and was really magnificent. It's just that he wasn't the kind of go-getter. You know, he take forever to build a suit. And in those days, you built a suit. It's not like you maybe make a suit, no, you built it. Because then it was, you know, a long process, and it fitted you perfectly. But when you saw one of his suits,
well made.
Yeah. So his thing was creativity. I have siblings who have done extremely well. You know, Caroline Cooper and Donette Cooper. Donette you don't know so well because she's in Washington. But she's a deputy attorney general in the DC area. Caroline is well known. She's retired now.
Yeah.
But so we all grew up happily, and you know, were quite pleased with. I mean, Caroline was a Jamaica scholar.
Yeah.
Which meant she came first in the island. So
yeah.
If you come first in Jamaica, you must be doing something right.
True.
You know, I was head boy at KC, so they would have seen some potential in me. And so on. So, you know, we had a great childhood, great family life together. I had this idea that Caribbean talent could, and Jamaican especially, because of course this is where I am, but Jamaica and the Caribbean, because we have the same basic heritage, we could compete with the best in the world in terms of beauty. And so modeling was something that was interesting to me. And we started a model agency, a model search, and we started doing fashion shows. We started fashion shows first, and of course, to have the shows, you had to have the models, and the models were around at the time. They didn't want to work for us. So I said, okay, we'll find our own models. And so we started a search, a competition, and the winners, we took the first winner to Paris, because we said, if we're going to do it, let's do it right.
Who was that first person?
Denise Slowly. And Janela Zan came second. She went to Paris as well. They were both very good friends. I don't know if you can remember that Reggae Nights video, Jimmy Cliff Reggae Nights.
Right.
And there was this girl who was doing somersaults in the video. That's Janela Zan. So it's all the way back to then.
Did you believe that you would have really hit it big in the fashion industry?
No, you hope for the best with whatever you do, you know. Just like you're doing now with your TV shows. and you put a lot into it, and you have if you think you have a solid idea. In my case, it was a little different in that it had never been done before, and everybody took it as a joke. You know, people laughed. I mean, you know, my friends laughed because they figured I was just trying to come up with a new scheme to get girls. You know, and so, you know, the whole idea of your parents sending you to school. You know,
and you're a lawyer now going into this.
A lawyer, now you're a qualified attorney. And instead of trying to earn an honest living, here you are talking about grooming school and model agency and fashion shows and concerts. We actually started with the concerts. And so on. And they felt I was just taking the thing a little too far.
The fashion industry, the entertainment industry is a fickle industry, literally. What kept you consistent, you know, so that you made it work? We
were all a little diverse in the sense that we did, you know, concert promotion, we did music production, we did fashion shows, we did a model agency. And all of these things happened within the first 2 or 3 years of life for Pulse. And so, you know, and we had some big blows, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, in 1982 or 83, when Dennis Brown didn't turn up from London for Super Jam, and on the same concert, that second night, this group did Solidarity, Black Uhuru. Black Uhuru split. Dennis Brown and Black Uhuru were the headliners on the second night. So we had no headliners. And so the concert crashed. And the third night was a big night with Shaka Khan. And Shaka Khan's album, A Song I Feel For You, was #1 in America, #1 in England. At the same time, she was in Jamaica for our concert. So you can just imagine how big that was.
Yeah.
But it crashed from the second night, the whole thing mash up. And that was a big financial loss for us. I mean, you know, you didn't know if you'd survive. Wow. Most people gave us 0 chance of survival. That was one. We had others, for example, when interest rates went to 100% in the 1990s, and, you know, we're looking at some massive debts. You borrow 20, 30 million at 18%, and then you have to pay back 200 million at 100%.
Wow. All right, we take a break. When we come back, we talk more with Kingsley Cooper about his challenges and his successes and why he's still in business. We continue our conversation with Kingsley Cooper. Now, Kingsley, the challenges, whenever they appear, you seem to get like a blow after a blow after a blow after a blow. Why did you stay in the ring?
Well, there was no real alternative for me, you know, because, you know, we don't think about failure.
Yeah.
We think about how to make the thing work, always. And so a challenge is really just a challenge. Some of them are very serious challenges, but then it requires very serious responses. And so, you know, we find ways. There's always a way, you know. But the point is that it's just a general approach to life and to business and to what it is that you love. Because for me, entertainment was what I wanted to do. I mean, Pulse has gone in so many different directions since it started. I mean, we are now a multifaceted, more diverse entity.
What else were the brands under Pulse?
Well, it's more a matter of the lines of business because everything is still called Pulse.
Right.
So, you know, we have the model competition, we have the TV shows, we have Fashion Week, although we haven't had Fashion Week in a while because of the pandemic. We have a lot of properties now at the core of our business. And it has been a long time coming. People are just seeing it now. But we started in '89 when we acquired Trafalgar Road property, and then in '93, '94 we acquired Villa and I, and then the development of the businesses there in terms of the office spaces and shops and so on. Then the small hotel, the rooms business, and you know, the Villa and I acquisition and the transformation of Villa and I from what it was to a 66 suite facility with offices and shops and restaurants, and now we're about to build Pulse Homes, which is 33 and 2-bedroom homes in the valley at Villarnay. And you know, when you look at your balance sheet, you know, you're looking at a company that is worth 6 billion stock units at $4 per unit. You're talking about a company that's worth between 24 and $30 million.
Did you
$30 billion.
Did you pinch yourself now and
you dream of success,
yeah,
and you work towards success. But to say what the end game was going to be, even though I can't say what the end game is going to be, because there are things we still want to do, and things that we need to do. We need to be, we're to some extent, you know, an international company, but we want to be a much stronger global entity.
Right.
And we want to be have a much stronger presence on the internet there with certain ideas that we have. And so there's a lot more to come. To say where we'll end up, you know, in my lifetime, I'm not sure. But we have great people who are now part of the senior management and to follow me.
Yeah.
So we're optimistic that, you know, we'll grow and grow and grow.
Great. Let's pull back just a bit. What was that moment like for you, or the moments for you, when you started getting calls from across the globe, so that your models can appear in different territories and to make the cover of magazines across the world?
It was exhilarating. I mean, it was all you could have hoped for. Yeah. And when it happened, you didn't really want anything more in life.
We just want the big magazines.
Well, the cover of Vogue. We have had, our models are the only models from the Caribbean who have made the cover of Vogue. We have had at least 3 or 4 of them. And, you know, Alicia Burke, Janelle Williams, oh Lord, her name escapes me now. Yeah. But there are about 4 models, and then we have had others like Nadine Willis, who didn't make the cover, but did every edition of Vogue.
Yeah, I like Nadine.
Similarly, Janelle McKenzie.
Yeah.
And, well, Nadine is exceptional, you know, because Nadine was touted to replace, the final year girl to replace Naomi Campbell. So, you know, if they're saying that, you know, because Naomi Campbell is the most indestructible model we've ever seen. You know, because she's still going on how many years later? I'm sure she's over 50. You know, one of the 5 models from the Caribbean who changed the face of fashion, and Janelle Williams being another of them, and the others are models who started not in Jamaica or the Caribbean, but outside of the Caribbean, like Grace Jones and people like that.
Right.
And so that sort of exhilaration was unimaginable, but you know, you go past it because success means that you have to do more.
Yeah.
There's no real lasting benefit of success other than the fact that historically it is recorded that you achieve this. It only means now that you are required to do so much more and to keep going because you can't stagnate.
What makes you so humble about your achievements?
Well, you know, I do everything by the grace of God.
Yeah.
You know, and whatever talent I might have or whatever I've been able to accomplish, I wouldn't have been able to do it without God's blessings. And so that is how I look at life. And, you know, my idea of God is not most people's idea of God. Right. God is whoever you perceive God to be. Whoever moves in your life, in your spirit, in your soul, in your universe, that is God. And God has been wonderful to me. And, you know, I remember, 6 years ago, you know, I had a heart condition. And I never had a heart attack. But something happened and it made me check medically. And we did an angiogram, and I discovered that all my arteries were blocked. The best one was blocked 85%. The rest of them were fully blocked.
Wow.
I mean, another week or 2 or a month or 2, and I would have gotten a heart attack, and I wouldn't have survived it. And, you know, that was, to me, was a wake-up call because I'd been sort of coasting for like 10 years, you know, doing okay, because we were released in 2006, it's happened in 2016. doing okay, but not doing what I was capable of doing. And to me, it was saying to, look, what are you doing with your time? You know, and so it made me now look at life so differently. And what I've accomplished between then and now, I've not done in 20 or 30 years. Because you know, I believe that my life was spared for a reason. And a lot of people think of these experiences as a wake-up call. They say, you have to take it easy, you know, you can't kill out yourself. You have to relax and enjoy life. And I don't get any enjoyment of life doing nothing. My enjoyment of life comes from doing, you know, what I do. And so, you know, we're able to set targets, 2-year targets, because I figured that with that experience, I shouldn't plan for more than 2 years. So 2 years at a time. And, you know, so a lot of what has happened in the last, with Pulse now, happened in the last 6 years.
All right, life lessons from Kingsley Cooper. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the show. For over 40 years, Kingsley Cooper has been making his own distinctive wave in the fashion and entertainment industry. Over 40 years, Mr. Cooper, and you're still at it, pacing yourself now these days, you say?
Well, to the extent that I have very specific targets, you know, to try and accomplish them in very specific time frames.
Yeah.
Yes, so I would say so, but not going easier, actually going much harder.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of things don't work by themselves. You have to have 4 or 5 things to come to be aligned at the same time for them to work.
Yeah.
So you can't do this thing and then that thing and then the next thing. You have to do them all together to make them work.
Right. Tell me about family. I know your daughter, Safia.
Right.
Right. She's a part of the company.
Right.
As well, and you have other family members in the business as well.
Right.
Let me to understand that structure.
I'm blessed with wonderful children. Rumi Gordon, my wife, is one of our managing directors. So is Safia.
I didn't know Rumi is your wife.
Well, I won't go into the definition, but accept that.
I will, sir. I will, sir. I will.
And she's one of our managing directors. Safia is another managing director. There are 2. I had a son recently, 8 years. He's 8 years old.
Yeah.
Cole Cooper, who I love dearly as I love Safia. So that is the essence of my family. But that gives me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
And it also helps in terms of purpose.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it adds to why you do what you do and what drives you to succeed. It's not only that, but that is a big part of it.
What do you believe your true purpose is? After all these years, what do you believe your true purpose is?
I think my purpose is what I'm doing, to do what I'm doing. And I think that there are more things that I'm to do. And I, you know, lots of people look at themselves and their lives and say, why am I here?
Yeah.
What am I doing? With, you know, and you know, there's somebody who's a great runner who wants to play basketball, or a great singer who wants to be a scientist, or a great scientist who wants to be an athlete. But if you are given certain gifts, the reason why you're given those gifts is to use them. It's because that is what it is you're supposed to do. And in your own life, you know the things that make you special. God gives all of us something to work with, you know. And so that is what so my purpose is doing what I'm gifted. And so that's how I see it. And also, as you go along, sometimes things open up. You see more and more. You know.
What is that one thing about Kingsley that you're still trying to work on, or that you're still struggling with? No.
I don't know that there is anything per se. You know, as you go through life day by day, you know, you'll notice little things that you need to maybe improve and so on. And I'm by no means perfect.
Yeah.
But it was never my desire to, or my purpose, or my objective to achieve perfection. It was to do, you know, what I believe I'm supposed to do.
Right.
And so, you know, I don't really have any major thing that I would want to say, let me fix this.
When are you planning to retire from it all?
You know, I retired when I was 65.
Oh, you did.
And I realized that it was really a nonsense.
Yeah?
And that I can't really retire. You know, you go through phases of life. And my phase now is to complete certain things and to empower the next generation in terms of the business, as well as just people generally outside of Pulse and outside of my circle. But mostly within Pulse to make sure that they can now run with, take the mantle and move on and do. But I will do my part, whatever that part is.
You have impacted so many lives. You have sent models across the globe, literally providing for themselves and for their families.
Don't forget I practiced law at one point.
And you practice law.
But
helping people to get justice.
But not that much.
Right.
Not that much.
Right. When you think on these things, what do you really think about and how do you feel?
I'm generally fairly satisfied
Yeah.
in that I think I've done a lot of what I wanted to do. I'm not completely satisfied. There's still more to be done. You know.
Are you keeping up with your 8-year-old?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, you're running about the place with him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, as much as we can in the pandemic period.
Right.
But he's in Connecticut now, where he comes back shortly before Christmas.
Right.
And it's a joy, you know, having, it's, you know, at this stage of my life, I think that's part of what it is, because it's now, you know, when I'm so much older, you have this youngster around you. It's like a new life, a breath of fresh air, and more, because of course, you know, you see yourself living through him.
Right. You think you might go for another one?
You know, I didn't go for that one, you know.
That one find you?
So, you never know, you know. It's up to the Almighty.
All right. Kingsley Cooper today on the Alrick Show. Trust me, it has been a journey for him. And of course, he's sharing his experience with us. I'm sure you've learned some lessons today. Thank you so much for sharing with us. The Alrick Show will be back next week.